So, for discussion, what were the issues relating to diversity and oppression?
I think that one of the first things that popped out at me right away was that the role play was like centered around a single mom who just didn't have a lot of access to resources or know what was available, and she was in an abusive relationship.
Yeah,
Also, the child's
I
clothes.
think that
Go ahead, Alina. You're fine. Go ahead.
I think the diversity comes into place with the different women participating in the meeting and the fact that everybody had a different background and a different approach to how we can handle this solution. I think that plays a a part into how different backgrounds can help bring out different sides of a perspective. So
I think her clothing played a part as well too. That it was torn, wasn't as neat as we would have maybe assumed it should have been. But having a conversation with the mom just allowed the conversation to further that she was a single mom. She didn't realize that some of those things were going on. So
I think also to chime into that, like when, in our role play, especially when we kind of like directed the abuse to the mom because she was a single parent and her working a lot, like not paying attention. So it kind of puts that stereotype on single moms that, oh, because you have to work, you're not paying attention to your kids. So, like, are you automatically assuming that I allow this to happen to my child because I'm not around as often as I can because I have things to focus on as well to support my child and the home that we're living in?
right.
Yeah.
So, what techniques were used in the role play?
So two of the main techniques and methods that we used was nonviolent communication and common ground. So, for nonviolent communication, the most important is the observation first, to make sure you're noticing the small little details that, teachers or somebody else can just, miss, not on purpose, but, it's important to notice those small details in order to be able to um bring that awareness to not only the parent, but to the entire school to kind of gain that attention towards that specific issue and get a resolution as quick as possible. And when we try to, find a resolution, it was really easy to find that common ground and kind of get to a point where each person, the teacher, the counselor, the CPS worker, the parent, and the child to get on the same level as to what they really wanted, which was, everything that could benefit Karen, especially in the home and at school, or her performance at school. So making sure that every single person is on the same level and understanding, as well as being validated and heard through their own situation that they may have, was also beneficial to this.
Yeah,
yeah.
that was
Yeah.
really true. I also think that like with the common ground, like everyone was able to have like a voice, and it might be hard like for some of the people like the mom to like feel like she had a voice if we didn't specifically use like a common ground exercise where it was geared towards everyone being able to given a chance to speak. I think that was like a really cool way to avoid conflict where you're not spoken over or you're not fully heard, and so that like every member had a chance, especially even like Karen too, like the little girl, she had a chance to really speak, and like she was even heard too, which can, could be missed in one of these discussions where all the workers are kind of like talking and trying to figure everything out with the mom.
Hmm.
And although it was a difficult conversation, it was as if there was a level of empathy there, like just ensuring to let mom that we weren't talking at mom, we were talking with mom. Like, how can we help you? Help us to understand the situation and what's going on. So I believe towards the end of, the meeting, mom felt supported. She felt more at ease compared to when
Yeah.
we first started the conversation and then when we got towards the end.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it was important that in our nonverbal communications that we really try to stress like the feelings and the needs of everybody. And I think sometimes in adult conversations they don't get to as a child get to express what they feel or what they need. And here we try to highlight that.
So, how were the techniques used in the role play?
So the first technique allowed, and we just went over this as well, to kind of like allow each person's needs and wants to be heard and to be validated and to be incorporated in the resolution. So it wasn't just one person saying, "Hey, I'm struggling, I got a lot going on," and say for instance, the social worker was like, "Oh, okay. All right, well, I know you got a lot going on, but this is not about you." Instead of saying, "Oh, it's not about you," or like kind of disregarding their feelings. Like, okay, well, I hear you're feeling this way. And, we're going to do everything that we can to make sure we do support you because that's what you do need and that's what you do want because you're trying to benefit and make sure your child, succeeds in school or succeeds in life. So you want to make sure you do everything you possibly can to get that outcome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think we definitely see like nonviolent communication used with the teacher and the student when the teacher's like talking to the student about what's going on at home, and like the teacher using that nonviolent communication is what helped the student really open up about what was happening. The teacher was able to express like how she needed to hear what was going on because she cared about the student. And I think like a lot of times students might not hear that like the teacher really cares about them and that's why they're asking, and that really opened the door to like start the process.
I think there was also a lot of paraphrasing with mom, just kind of when the counselor or the social worker or teacher stated something, mom also, replied with, "So what I hear you saying is," so that was also awesome that she was able to then internalize, what they were saying to make it fit. And they were basically on the same field.
I think that the fact that our group was familiar with how a lot of these situations go, it helped how we can put in the techniques we wanted to use, like offering so many resources. A lot of those were thought of by our group as a whole. So I think our personal and past experiences in this field helped us add our own techniques in addition to the methods that we chose from this curriculum.
Just to add, I think it was also cool how we kind of wrap around at the end to back to nonviolent communication with the mom, despite getting all these resources and all these new outlets, she still was able to say, "I think I need this for now and I'm gonna stick with this." And she was able to still stick to what she needed and still voice that and then still keep in mind of the other opportunities, but still voice what you really needed. And the last question is, what stage is the group reached by the end of this course, and how do they know this?
We done.
Termination. Sorry.
That's okay. Fine. We're at termination. We're wrapping it up. Week 7.
Woohoo! We got through. But it's like,
So we are at the termination stage. This was the last thing to our classroom, was making sure this presentation was coming together and make sure we got all the work done with busy schedules, hard days. We pushed past it. We made sure we worked together as a group, but not only did we make sure we worked together as a group, we were there for each other, through these tough online times. But we made it, and this is it.
Definitely. I think I noticed termination when like we started commenting to each other about how like, wow, this class is ending. Like this has been a really successful group. Like we've really worked well together. And like we started reflecting kind of on like the different like emotions we've had working together, which has mostly been like how smooth it's been going and like how much we've enjoyed it. So then I was like starting to like hit me like this class is ending and like, wow, we finished our first class for like masters and like we're really doing this, guys.
Yeah. I think we also know it's termination too, because we need that week break and we're ready for it, but we're also still kind of sad that I don't know about you guys, this has been the best group experience I have had, and I am very sad to have to potentially work with a new group of people. I know it's not gonna go as smoothly. So I am kind of sad too that it is termination, I think. But I think that's also how things are ending, because it's you have that bittersweet feeling.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I've never really had like a a group that stayed positive throughout it all, and like people weren't trying to like bossy, and everybody's opinions was heard. It was very nice. And also my favorite part, I think, was the fact that everybody had a little bit knowledge of what it feels like for families in need. So just bouncing off of each other is so much better than talking to your mom or sister and they don't know what you're talking about. So that's
Absolutely.
cool.
Absolutely.
Great.